We start this half hour of SNN Local News with a stabbing at the Selby Library in Sarasota. Now, the fact that it happened and at the library is only part of the story. As SNN Local News reporter John Andrews tells us now, it's also surprising some of the people who saw it happen say the guy responsible acted like it was no big deal.
Guy got stabbed in the neck, and they, what I understand what the police told me after I made my statement is that they had to babe-flight the black guy out.
Blood on the floor of the Selby Public Library is left as part of a crime scene few would have imagined at a library.
You know, I feel a bit nervous. That's horrible. You know, you could be anywhere.
I've been coming here for years, and I've seen arguments, I've seen, scuffles and everything, but I've never seen anything like this.
I'm sure it was a shock to many people that came in. However, the library is a safe place, and this was just an incident involving two individuals that is now under control.
27-year-old Andrew Timshin is in custody and charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon after stabbing Marcus Colbert in the second-floor computer area.
I saw a white man pushing a black guy, what I thought was pushing, and as he turned around towards me, I saw him holding up a pocket knife, putting it in his pocket. I didn't realize he had gotten stabbed. I just saw what I thought was pushing.
Perhaps what is most shocking is witnesses say Timshin sat down at his computer like nothing happened.
It was like, an everyday thing to him.
In Sarasota, John Andrews, SNN Local News.
Now, it's not known what caused the altercation that led to the stabbing at this time. Authorities are still investigating, though. All right, Lauren, thank you. Well, just a few days and several thousand miles separate Nathan Bartholomew and Felicia Zhang from the 2014 Sochi Olympics. SNN Local News reporter John Andrews has the latest from Ellington Ice and Sports Complex. John?
Mike, the response here has been tremendous, and the support for our local Olympians is unprecedented in Ellington. More than 1,000 persons turned out to see Felicia Zhang and Nathan Bartholomew in their final performance before traveling to Sochi. The line wrapped around the Ellington Ice and Sports Complex, with fewer than half getting in to witness a little bit of ice skating history.
When we're watching the Olympics, we'll be cheering them on, our hometown heroes.
Well, we just want them to go and represent America and just do excellent. We're just going to be cheering for them.
I wish them lots of good luck, and I hope they win a gold medal.
They make me feel like I can do anything. They inspire me.
Zahn and Bartholomew are scheduled to leave Saturday morning. They simply cannot wait.
I've dreamed of it my whole life. I mean, I've watched the opening ceremonies ever since I was little, and it was always the coolest thing. I always looked forward to it every 2 years, and just finding out that I will be on TV this year wearing like all the Team USA, I'm just so honored and proud of our hard work to make it as far as we have.
And the opening ceremonies is just always a brilliant thing that everybody always watches on TV. Just to be surrounded by that much sport, and I mean, it's the biggest sports stage of the world, and just to be a part of that is a blessing, and to be there is, and we can't wait to be a part of it.
UK figure skating pair Stacey Kemp and David King also train in Ellington and competed in the 2010 Vancouver Games. They are both very excited to qualify again.
We're really excited. I mean, it's the day that we fly, and we're really happy.
Very excited, yeah. It's like living our dream.
Before the final performance here in the U.S., we saw a young and upcoming pair to keep our eyes on, Serena Gillette and Maximilio Fernandez. However, the main attraction are the Olympians who are going for the gold, and it sounds like we can look forward to seeing some new moves in Sochi.
We are definitely training to build up to the Olympics, but we definitely don't want to peak now.
Yeah.
We want to peak 2 weeks later when we skate. So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it was always in our plan to, we wanted to put one more performance out for Ellington, but it was always in our plan to leave 1 or 2 things out just on our training plan.
Yeah.
Don't let all the intense training talk and stunning performances fool you. These competitors still know how to have fun.
All right, John, thanks.
Sarasota firefighters treated at least 30 people at Nathan Benderson Park for symptoms of hypothermia, and one girl was transported to a nearby hospital for hypothermia. She is in stable condition and has been released. Weather conditions to start the day were not optimal, but not severe either.
A cold front came through, Winds gusted up and the temperature dropped, I want to say 10 to 15 degrees in 20 minutes. People that were competing out on the lake got cold very quickly.
When it got down to about 46-degree wind chill factor, that's when we stopped launching more boats, so no more races were started. As it got down to 43, that's when we started to send all the boats back in. So from a planning standpoint, it worked. As we saw the wind chill factor coming down, that's when we canceled the regatta and started sending all the boats back in.
Everyone warmed up safely with blankets, warm fluids, and friction. The regatta director, Jeff Kohler, explained that safety is the #1 priority of these events and that several contingency plans are in place for just such an incident.
When we go back to the very first planning of the regatta, one of the first things we talk about is what if. We put into place protocols for safety purposes. We've got about a 12-page sheet of who will do what, where and when, and why.
Although no one was seriously hurt, some parents are upset with the situation.
I don't think it was tragic, though. I mean, I think a couple of kids got hypothermia. From what I heard, that's why the ambulances are here. But they'd probably be okay. It's just that, I just think they should have used a little better judgment. All's well that ends well. My kids are fine. They're just cold and wet.
Local authorities plan to attend the Post-Regatta Action Review Committee meeting to improve communications between them. In Sarasota, John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6. Hundreds of people have come out to raise money for local kids, and it just looks way too much fun for just them. This is the mud pit at the finish line of the Sarasota Dirty Duo. More than 350 people competed in the 5th Dirty Duo that takes place next to Interstate Park. This event is more than just some race. It's full of physical challenges. Teams of 2 started out with a 3-legged race, then carry one another almost the length of a football field, and so much more.
Going through mud, tires, going through waist-high mud water in the back, climbing a mountain.
The adults also have 2 3-mile laps to complete. One runs while the other bikes. Teams try to strategize how to best accomplish the trek, but it doesn't always go as planned.
So we saw each other over here after the first lap, and I'm like, Amy, where's DMF? Where'd you leave the bike? She's like, where'd you leave the bike? I'm like, half a mile that way.
And why do people pay to do this?
Seemed like a good idea at the time.
Yeah, because it's awesome and we're competitive. And we don't get fun together.
You don't get the chance to crawl through a mud pit very often.
We do it because it's fun, and we're a little, woo! We have no idea.
We asked each other that question about halfway through the course.
And then on a minute-to-minute basis thereafter.
And we're hoping we're still speaking to each other at the end.
Oh, we're crazy. We're almost 40 and we're best friends and we wanted to do something kind of cool.
Because it's here.
And because we can. We worked 3 weeks for this.
Yeah, we trained 3 whole weeks, so don't try this at home straight from the couch.
All of the proceeds from the event benefit the Police Athletic League Sailor Circus and Tatum Ridge Elementary School. Some of the canvas that used to cover the Sailor Circus now makes up the bottom of the mud pit, just to make sure the mud stays in one place. So in a nutshell, the Sarasota Dirty Duo, people getting dirty and having fun to raise funds for kids. John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6. More than 300 people came to the Venice Community Center to attend Hope for Homeowners. The Sarasota, Bradenton, Venice areas are near the top 20 places in foreclosure nationwide.
The clerk of the court had reported that there have been 5,300 foreclosures filed in Sarasota County this year alone.
Sarasota County is working to become proactive and hosted a panel of experts to explain the foreclosure situation. That led to a 2-hour Q&A session. Judge Lee Hayworth wants people to know that most of the time, there is hope.
In a lot of cases that look hopeless to the layperson are not to the attorney, and they need to go out and get legal counsel, a member of the Florida Bar, to look at their case and give an informed opinion as to whether or not they should fight or not fight.
Something that this seminar stresses is that there is help available and it's free, but beware.
Number 1, beware of foreclosure scams. If someone comes to you and they want to charge you money to get you a loan modification, hang up the phone, close the door, and don't call them back.
There are free resources where people can go and avoid those scams. If anybody's charging money to help do a workout on a mortgage, a red flag ought to go up, unless that's a member of the Florida Bar.
Several people have been hit by scams promising a ladder and yet being left in a hole.
I got this thing in the mail here that says, Home Savers Are Us.
of Sarasota County, and you know, they came into my home, they met my family, they told me that I would have no more worries, that I would be able to save my house. I actually paid them $2,000 and they're gone.
Most people we talked to felt they had a whole new grasp on the situation.
There's a wealth of information here. It's amazing what you can pick up. There's so many services here.
I think it's been terrific. It really brought home that there is ways people can be helped that they should try to take advantage of.
Organizers are pleased with the turnout and may be looking to host more.
One of the things that we're looking at is the possibility of repeating this kind of a program in South County as well as in North County.
In Venice, John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6.
A boater saw it flying low, then it took a dive into the water for whatever purpose, and ended up having to swim like a half mile into the shore. And the salt was so heavy on its wings it couldn't take off and fly anymore.
The American bald eagle is not known for swimming, and that's why it's so strange that this large bird of prey wound up here in this exotic vet clinic. Due to the razor-sharp talons, massive beak, and overall strength of this bird, examining it while it's conscious just isn't an option.
We're going to give him a little whiff of isoflurane gas so we can give him a full exam. He's very powerful. That way we can clean him up, get the salt off his feathers. There's no sign of oil. Get his feet cleaned up and see if there's anything medically wrong with him.
After some close examination and x-rays, the doctor was happy to report that this male with a 5-foot wingspan doesn't have any overt physical injuries.
There's nothing broken, there's no broken bones, there's no signs of any type of gunshot wound or lead. He does have a very elevated liver value, which could either be due to the trauma of the whole incident yesterday or possibly a real an early liver problem. I'm assuming it may be from all the trauma.
The cuts on his claws are minor, probably from fighting with another bird over territory. Dr. Landis thinks he may have wound up in the water by going for a fish that was just too big to pull out of the water. Or it could have been hit by a wave while it was skimming the water. Landis said that the eagle is very strong and likely to make a quick and full recovery.
We don't see them as healthy as when we get them as this one is, so this one has a really good chance. And we're crossing our fingers for it.
In Nokomis, John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6. Meet Lily Murphy. She looks like any other curious 10-month-old.
To look at her, you wouldn't be able to tell that there was anything wrong with her. It was two of my family members pointed it out in a photograph, an odd reflection in her eyes.
Most people's eyes reflect a red glare in pictures, like Lily's right eye, but her left eye has a chalky white reflection.
I just thought it was the flash of the camera, certain angle, and we saw it more and more, and it was always in the same eye. So we had an eye doctor look at her, and he found out that she had a mass behind her eye.
Lily was diagnosed with retinoblastoma in January. It's a rare form of eye cancer. Her parents don't have health insurance and are paying for her 9 chemo sessions in Miami out of pocket. Now the community is coming together with a fundraising event to help out.
My shop is the headquarters to buy tickets to the event. To donate any of your items, you drop them off here, and we put them all together and basket them. We'll have them for auction at the Sun and Fun on Saturday from 1 to 5.
Sun and Fun, which has been unbelievable. They've donated the whole weekend packages for our silent auction, beverages, volunteers. I mean, they've been a driving force.
For now, Lily is taking therapy like a champ, getting 36 hours of chemo at a time, followed by a laser eye surgery. Everyone hopes that all the medical treatments and well wishes will save her sight and her eyes. In Sarasota, John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6. Terrorists, enemy combatants, and a terror mastermind are all going to face trial. But where and how?
We're trying to have these trials done in a military tribunal, a military court, ideally, but a military tribunal, not a civilian court, because what happened in Detroit, they want to give them their rights, Miranda rights, and then what happens, they get them lawyered up, and that can run on for a long period of time, a couple of years.
The congressmen are not trying to remove due process, but to preserve intelligence.
Al-Qaeda's members have sensitive information, and contacts that we need to examine. Military tribunals also give us an opportunity to keep classified information safe while conducting these trials.
People that were providing the evidence would be outed, so to speak, if they were called to testify. In a military commission, you wouldn't have to worry about that, yet at the same time still given due process.
The congressmen also feel that this bill is necessary for international opinion.
The one thing that's most disheartening of all is when our Attorney General says that these cases are going to be a slam dunk wherever they're going to be held. What is that going to say to the international community about our federal judicial process when people potentially could be acquitted but still thrown in jail anyway because that's just going to be the way that it is?
The bill has been assigned to the Judicial and Armed Services Committee. In Sarasota, John Andrews, SNN, Local News 6.